Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation for week 4. This is on public versus private, and basically we're just going to look at Graham Allison's question whether the public and private sector are similar in all unimportant aspects. My name is Octavio Ramirez Lopez. This is for class MPA 594 Comprehensive Exam Seminar for Dr. Sundstrom at California Baptist University. So the two agencies that I'll be using to discuss the material throughout this discussion board is Riverside County Department of Public Social Services. That's a public sector, and this agency provides social welfare benefits. I'm mostly going to focus on the Adult Services Division that assists vulnerable individuals, older adults, or dependent adults in with services such as funding, linkage to resources, or assisting with applying for welfare benefits as well to allow people to remain safely in their home and live a sustainable life. In regards to the Lighthouse Social Services, that's a private sector. It's a nonprofit agency, so it's not looking to make any profits at all, but it's there to also assist in these individuals, vulnerable individuals, with also resources and funding to secure housing and remain safely in their home as well. So I'm going to start by discussing the similarities between both DPSS and Lighthouse. I feel that both agencies follow Gillick's past course approach since they both plan for how to use those resources, how to develop these programs. They both organize either funds, time, use of resources, and they also staff. They both hire members who are going to carry on this task. They also direct their employees on what they're supposed to do. They also coordinate for services and programs and development of different procedures. And they also report. They have to report to, keep track of how many people they serve, what type of services they serve, so that in case they're stakeholders, they come back to them for information. They have this reporting, and they also have the budget since they both have limited resources. They're trying to uh, uh, they're trying to use to make themselves sustainable. In regards to the system, I feel that they're both an open system. I feel they both take on input such as funding, also positive feedback that either promotes or lets the company know they're doing good, or negative feedback that lets the company know that you're doing wrong, either by you're having negative behaviors in your agency, or you're just leaving your system alone, whether you're pretty much looking towards negative entropy where the system is just going to run down. So they also have throughputs where they process all these inputs, and then now they make them all into outputs in the distribution of services and programs or funding. And in addition, and finally, in regards to the seeking efficiency, I feel that they both follow Taylor's scientific management approach when management takes on the lead on the making decisions on how to divide labor and who to appoint to certain tasks, and then also timing on how services or how referrals should be addressed, how soon and how quick, and how soon the case should be closed or the referral. So this is what I have for the similarities. So now let's start by discussing some differences within DPSS on all the important aspects in regards to the creation of the program, autonomy, and also accountability. So let's start with the creation of the program. So it was developed by the or enforced or supported by the Social Security Act of 1935. So this is created by the federal government. Now, the federal government provides the legislation and also the funding through Congress. So now, it passed it on to the states, and then the states passed it on to the counties, but not just the legislation, but also the funding. So it's kind of like that mixture of government in regards to completing this or creating these programs. And in regards to autonomy, since this legislation was created by the federal government, we don't have that autonomy to make like drastic decisions or drastic changes, since we kind of have to follow the policy and reflecting, that was since the economy of division of policy and administration. So that policy making was already done by the federal government. It was carried on to the states and also carried on to the counties, and maybe top administrators kind of make some decision power, have some decision power in regards to how to develop those programs and services, but they don't really have much power or don't influence the policy making of the federal and state governments. Or so that's kind of what affects our accountability. So and in attempts to kind of, since all organizations have that, kind of those life cycles, so we're trying to stay alive. So if it was created, we kind of trying to pass that threshold that where we become important and needed by the society, and also we want to meet those guidelines to remain alive. And now accountability. So we're a public funded agency. We're also created by Congress, by federal legislation. So we are pretty much always under the microscope. We are affected by public opinion, since we're funded by public taxpayers. So now we have to kind of enforce that idea of the Pendleton Act to step away from that spoiled systems. We have to remain accountable. So we have to hire people that are actually able to complete their roles, to able to complete those those goals that the organization needs to complete. So in order to do that, we kind of take that Baber's idea of bureaucracy, where we develop a bureaucracy where it's clearly defined. We have a clearly chain of command. There's a division of labor. We manage by the rules, so people learn the rules and the policy. We administrate those policies and rules, and then we also select employees based on their competencies, so that we can promote that the Pendleton Act and step away from this spoil system. And then also we document the rules, procedures, and regulations, so that we can kind of promote that consistency and accountability. On the other hand, Lighthouse is a private sector. It wasn't really created by legislation, so it was mostly created by someone who had a vision and a mission to help people in these circumstances. So they don't really have to abide by a lot of governmental rules in regards to, I made this policy to create this program and then do this. They kind of create their own programs, and based on those programs, now they develop that autonomy. Okay, who do we reach out for funding? So now that they had developed this program, these ideas, now in order to be accomplished, those ideas, now they again do the, reach out to different, either the federal government or donors, for funding. So they have more autonomy on making decisions for the program, what type of services they want to deliver. And once they made those decisions, now they can reach out. They can do their grant writing and reach out to the government, but now they become somewhat responsible to meet those guidelines that or stipulations they stated on the proposals they provided to the government for funding. And in regards to accountability, so they're not really under the microscope as much as the public sector. However, they do have to remain accountable to their stakeholders, those people who gave them the funding, and they don't really have to deal with the wicked problems that the public sector does, since a lot of times just the public sector has to deal with problems that the private sector is not able to address. So they're not really held as accountable as the public sector, since they're not directly being funded or only being funded through public funds. In conclusion, I feel that both the public and the private sector are similar in the way they try to manage their resources in regards to following Gillig's POTS Corp, and also in their attempts to, accomplish efficiency. However, I feel they're very different in regards to their creation, their autonomy, and their accountability levels. I want to thank you guys so much for viewing my presentation. I really hope everyone's having a great weekend.